5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Collectors, let's go.
And we're live.
Hey.
Good
Hey.
day, everybody.
Hey, everyone.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
How's everyone tonight?
Very good. Very excited.
Doing great. I'll never get sick of that intro, Matt. I absolutely love that. You nailed that.
Well, I might have to update a few things maybe later on, but it's good for
Yeah.
now, right?
Yeah, it's
For
great.
sure.
I love it.
Sure, it's sick.
I've got a few people in the chat. Let's go to the chat and say hello to a few people. We have Crackles. This took way too long to happen.
Hey, Crackles.
G'day, Crackles. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. And we have, Lee is in the house with his peanut butter and onion sandwich, Andrew.
I absolutely love those. Absolutely love it. So that was the best recommendation for a sandwich.
Must be the winner. Andrew's sandwich.
Andrew sandwich, yeah.
We got Phil. G'day, Phil.
G'day, Phil.
Thank you for joining us all the way from Japan. We enjoyed your ZSR appearance yesterday. That was pretty cool, man. Very chill.
Very cool.
We've got Jewel.
G'day, Jewel.
Thanks for joining us, Jewel. We got Mr. Rolando. G'day,
Rolando.
Hey, buddy.
4:30, 3:30. And Steve. Hello, Steve.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, Steve.
All the way from the UK. Thanks for joining us. Another one from the UK is our mate, Simon Mills. G'day,
G'day,
Simon.
You, Simon.
And there's Yeehaw as well.
Yeah.
G'day,
Yeehaw.
Yeah.
And you better tell everyone
there's
we've got a guest on the panel here tonight.
Well, yeah, I'm getting there. I'm just going.
No. I'm talking about Dean.
You want the hosting job, Andrew?
No, I was talking about Dean, that's all.
I just saying hello to people. G'day, Carl.
Hey,
Thank
Carl.
G'day,
you.
Carl.
There's Dan and Monique who are in the house. What a great intro. We have someone's bro in the house.
What's up, Mitch?
Am I
Hey,
saying in
Mitch.
the house too much? G'day, Mitch.
In the
We
house.
have God Tank. Hello, God Tank.
Hey, buddy.
All the way from Texas.
Hey, man.
Wow.
Wow.
That
gee.
is something.
That's cool.
That's a long way away. But I love Texas.
Yeah.
Good evening, Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
And then we have Damien Toys in Adelaide. Yes, been following him on Insta for
Yeah.
Instagram, yeah.
I think I've got him
check
as well on
his stuff.
Instagram. Yeah.
Hey, Damien.
Yeah. Well, here we are, and also let's go around. We've got also Mr. Dean joining us tonight. Dean from Totally Taylor Retro Hunters on Instagram. There is a big reason why Dean is here tonight.
That one.
We got
Thanks
Ed.
for having me.
Ed from
Having
Ed's
me.
Retro Geek Out. How you
Yeah.
going, Dean?
Yeah,
Welcome.
I'm great. Nervous but excited.
Yeah.
To get Ed on. Wow, that's pretty cool. And
It is
as you
pretty
know,
cool.
big turtle lover. So
Yep.
no one bigger than Ed out there these days. But yeah, thank you for having me here.
No, you're welcome,
Oh,
Dean.
thanks.
We
You're
know-
welcome, mate. Thanks for joining
Welcome
us.
here, man.
Yeah, we know what he means. We know what he means. I know you love watching his channel more so than us. Like we all enjoy watching Ed, and probably most of the got people in the chat. But I think
Yeah.
you may be a bit of a higher up fan than us. And
Cool.
who's this? Who's this person?
Oh, Team Crusher is rolling heavy in the chat. We've got my brother and my mum as well.
Oh,
G'day, Scott's mum.
Hey, Scott's
Thanks for
mum.
joining us.
Thanks for the
That's
support.
awesome. Well, let's start off. While we're with you, Scott, we'll start off. How's your, well, it's been almost a month since we've caught up. How's it all been in the last few weeks for you?
Oh, mate, it's been good. I mean, no, everything's good. A bit quiet on the YouTube front for me. I've not put anything out since we caught up. Dean and Andrew and Matt myself a few weeks ago to go on a toy hunt. I'm still working on that video. Did a little bit of work on that the last couple of days. So hoping to have that out. But I've just been busy, mate. Busy with work. I've been away. I was away up the coast with some mates last weekend. So just busy, but good. And really excited for tonight. I feel like I was ready to go, because it's it's a Sunday, obviously, but it's so late for us. So I felt like at midday I was already thinking, do I get set up? Am I organised? Yeah. So I was just saying to the guys before we went live, I'm a little bit nervous as well. Excited to chat with Ed, and a few cups of coffee consumed this afternoon, offset with a few. Pear cider is my beverage for the evening. So mate, all good, all good. Just excited.
That's good, Scotty. I'm just all everyone's going, hi, Scott's mum. Hi, Scott's mum.
I know.
Mum. Andrew, how you been?
Yeah, not too
Apart
bad.
from working your guts out, but how you been?
Working my guts out, for the last month.
Yeah.
7 days a week.
Oh my goodness.
Other than that, pretty good.
I should actually, sorry, Scott, was there any toy pickups, anything you wanted to show us, that's been happening in the last...
No, look, really not much. I mean, a couple of things. I mean, obviously we did our toy hunt a couple of weeks ago. There's things that are going to be shown off in that video that's going to be coming out. But
can you give us a bit of a sneak peek?
I've got to just give some love to the Keep On Collecting boys while we're all together. A couple of absolute treasures for the collection that the boys picked up for me in their travels over the Christmas break. Do you guys remember, and Dean, you're of a similar age, I'm pretty sure, Dean, you're the same age as me, so I'm sure you had some of these as well. These books where your parents gave the company your name and your address and your three best mates' names, and they put you in these adventures? Do you remember these, Dean or Ryan? Do you guys remember having these as a kid?
Not really.
I don't remember having them as a kid, but...
Well, this is basically a real Ghostbusters Bustin' Down Under book for a kid named Shane Smith who lived in Ulladulla. And it's basically Shane and his three best childhood mates helping the Ghostbusters, in an adventure in Australia, which is just awesome.
That's so cool.
That is,
and not only that, Home Alone on Laserdisc X Rental. How about that? I never knew X Rental Laserdisc, or I never knew Laserdisc had a rental market. So
no, I didn't realize that.
A couple of absolute treasures from Matt and Andrew. So obviously, I'm going to look at them in a bit more detail when I have my video coming out on those. But hey, listen, while I'm on the mic, just show you guys a bit of love or show. I think Andrew picked those up. But both you guys always look after me. So a couple of absolute gems for the collection. So I was really happy with those. But to answer your question, Matt, no, not really. I've just been taking it easy. Just trying to be responsible financially, obviously, and just save it for toy fairs. And there's going to be a lot of opportunities throughout this year to really be adding a lot of stuff to the collection. So eBay and Facebook, I'm just kind of keeping it limited at the minute.
Yeah, playing the responsible adult for
trying to do that. Cost of living, all the rest. I know I know we're all about the fun and the toys here, but obviously these things are a factor. So I'm just trying to pick my moments at the minute.
Yep,
absolutely.
And what about you, Mr. Andrew? You have you picked anything up in the last couple of weeks, apart from a bad case of tiredness?
I have gotten around a little bit to the shops, and as I said before, there's always that gap at the start of the new year till March where there's nothing sort of comes through. But I popped into Toymate and was surprised, and I think I think I'm the only one in Australia, I think, that's got the set of Masters Universe Snake Men. So you got Snake Armor He-Man there.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Get back here, Brooklyn.
Rattler.
Yep.
Snake Man. Cobra Khan.
Oh,
Cobra Khan.
Khan.
Khan! and this one Matt picked up for me. He's still part of the Snake Man. It's funny he's got Sun Man on the front and not the Snake Man logo like the other ones do.
Yeah,
That
okay.
is a bit strange.
Because he's
Yeah.
in the Snake Man wave,
Yeah.
and that's Bolt Man. So
Bolt Man. Yeah. Okay.
Bolt Man.
Yeah.
Maybe
So,
they put the wrong sticker on or something.
I don't know
the Sun Man
why,
wave?
but there is another one in there, Matt, that we didn't come out here already. We saw the other night on
There's a
YouTube.
couple of hypnotic or something, or hypno or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a couple of weird ones. Yeah, from the
But there was
Sunman
like-
line.
Yeah, so so those 4, there was like 4 in the box and 1 extra rattler, and that was the whole box. And the lady said, "Well, you just bought the whole set." So
Oh,
sorry to everyone
Wow.
else.
There you go. You did well.
Abdul, welcome.
Hey, Abdul,
Been
welcome.
watching it for a year. Wow, that's excellent. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Hope
Thanks
you
for saying
enjoyed
g'day.
tonight. Yeah, thank you for saying hi
Just
to
like
us all.
keep it real here.
And Andrew, while we've got you, sorry, Ryan.
No, you're
And
right.
while you're here, what about your? There you go. I'm going to ask this, not collecting related, but who's the most famous person you've met?
Me?
Yeah, why not? Well, you're up.
Put you on the
Who's
spot.
the most famous person I've met?
Yeah.
That'd be what's his name from MacGyver, wouldn't it?
Richard Dean Anderson.
Yeah,
Richard Dean Anderson, I think, is about the most famous one I think I've met.
I met him as well.
Yeah. I met a couple of actors from the original Lost in Space TV series,
Yeah.
and got a Jupiter 2 signed with their signatures on it.
That's cool.
But other than that, like that, there's a few politicians I've met, but they don't count. Sorry to any politicians watching.
What about you, Scott? Your favorite?
Oh, mate, I've got a few.
Favorite?
The ones that, because I saw Brooklyn's question before, the ones that come to my mind, I met Jamie Foxx at a bar here in Sydney on a night out, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Jake the Snake Roberts, just in terms of like a childhood hero, that was the big one for me at an indie wrestling show in 1993. That was a special one.
Yeah.
And when I was on a work trip in the Philippines a few years back, I met Robin Thicke there at a bar. He was there opening up a casino. So, he was there performing at the opening of a casino in the Philippines, in Manila. So, I just bumped into him and listen, I'm the kind of person, if I see someone famous out, I don't really have the balls to to go up and interrupt the conversation and like have a chat and ask for a photo. But fortunately, in those cases, I had a mate with me. Or I was with a group of friends who were game enough. Otherwise, those moments wouldn't have happened. I do tend to get a bit starstruck, in those sorts of situations. But yeah, so those are the ones that come to mind for me.
Okay.
What about you, Matt?
No, I'll go last. I'm going to send Ryan up into the main seat now.
Yeah.
How you been, Ryan?
I'm doing well. It's been a good couple of weeks.
Easy.
Recently got the Ghostbusters Proton Pack behind me, so that was pretty cool, and some Doctor Who items. It's been a busy couple of weeks getting all that done, which has been awesome.
Been pumping out the videos.
Yeah, taking a bit of a break this week, but it's just when you get the time. But yeah, thank you.
It is mainly, it is.
Yeah.
No, you do
What
good,
about,
mate. You always get them out quick. I'm always impressed with how quickly you can put them together and get them out. So
yeah, I just get into a bit of a workflow, and I just get it done and try and get it out as quick as I can, so everyone can see it.
For sure.
Yeah,
Oh, we appreciate it too.
No, thank you.
And your most famous person you ever met?
It's a trio. It was in Supernova 2010 in Melbourne. So managed to get a photo opportunity with Sophie Eldred, who played Ace in Doctor Who, Sylvester McCoy, Seventh Doctor, and Paul McGann, who played the Eighth Doctor. So that was pretty cool. Yeah.
That is very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And now we're going to put Dean into the hot seat.
Oh,
Welcome, Dean.
thank you, guys. Thank you.
What have you
for
been up
inviting
to
me.
in your collecting life? What have you been up to?
Well, as Scott said, yourself, Andrew, and Scott and I,
Yeah.
we went out and did a bit of a hunt in my local area, so Western Sydney.
Lots
So
of fun.
a little secret den hidden away there. We were, I won't say too much because I know Scott's got a video coming out.
Yeah,
lots of TMNT goodies in that one. So
yeah.
great fun for us. But yeah, anyone that saw my Instagram would have seen that I picked up a complete hothead.
Love
Oh,
that.
wow.
From
That's
1992. So
That's awesome.
pretty pumped to get him, even with his kind of like shoulder leg armor pieces, which are always missing. So
Yeah.
he is my latest piece to add to the collection. I do have a few complete TMNTs coming. So my focus lately has been really focusing on the accessories and sort of trying to finish those first 4 waves in the line that are a bit more achievable than those last couple. So just chipping away at them. But as the boys and you guys have said, inflation's just crazy right now. So it's just
It is.
picking up a little bit here, and then trying not to spend too much.
What about most famous person though?
My famous person is actually a pretty awesome one. Harrison Ford is my famous.
That is excellent. Yeah.
I was lucky enough to win a competition for The Force Awakens, and we got to go and watch a trailer that wasn't released at the IMAX in Sydney. Little did we know, when the trailer finished, Harrison Ford was there in the spotlight and had a chat with everyone. But also in the room, there was probably only 50 people who got a ticket to it. Was Russell Crowe. So
Yeah.
And my shyness level to celebrities is a little bit different. I'll just go for it because I'm like, I put it down to if I don't do it, it's not going to happen. So I just go for it.
And then you're annoyed at yourself later on.
Yeah, but I'm nervous now.
I should have done that.
So but I met Orlando Bloom.
Orlando Bloom,
and William Shatner. He was a big one for me to meet.
He would be. Yeah, he's massive.
I attend a lot of those supernovas and Oz Comic Con, things like that. So we used to go yearly over to Adelaide and have a little trip during the year at the same time that was on. So that was really fun. So hopefully get back to that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Cool.
Well, I'll be really quick because Ed has actually just rocked up into the green room. So I don't want to take up too much time. But I'm not going to go too much into what I've been up to or what I've picked up. Look, I just want to quickly chuck something out there for people. Just on the 12th of March, I'm just going to play this. On the 12th of March, over the weekend of that, the 11th and 12th, Stu from Universal Toy Collector has a 24-hour charity live stream for Give Kids the World. Andrew and I and Scott, it's the day of the CollectorCon on the 12th of March. So we'll be live streaming. Well, we've been given a slot for 2 hours to live stream a little bit. And we're just going to, I guess, talk about our pickups. We're going to talk just about, whatever we can for 2 hours, I guess. So, it's just it's a good charity to help Stu out, and anything that we can do. More details will follow, so just stay tuned. We'll probably put something up on Keep On Collecting, and hang out. All right, that's enough of me. You don't want to look at this ugly head anymore. We need to look at someone a little bit prettier. So we're very appreciative of Ed. I'm just gonna bring him in. I don't know what to say. Like, there's just so much to say about Ed.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll bring him in. Hello, Ed.
Hey.
How are you today, my friend?
Hey, Ed.
Good. Is everything working?
Oh, we can hear you.
Okay, sweet.
How are you going, Ed? Thank you very much for joining us.
Just a bit tired. I'm
You're a bit tired,
I'm redoing the room, so that's taking up
Oh,
a lot of time. But I did go out hunting this morning, so that was good.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
Excellent.
Thanks for having me on.
Well, thank you very much.
Nice.
Like, we know
Pleasure.
that there's a massive time difference, between yourself in Belgium and us in Australia. can I just go around the room and introduce the guys? Do you mind?
Yeah, sure.
I'll just say, it's the first time in Australia, I guess. All right, there's me. Me and Andrew, the guy just over here on the left is Andrew. I'm Matt. We're from a YouTube channel called Keep On Collecting. Just like yourself, we have just a massive collection of 70s, 80s, 90s toys. And we love your channel. We've been watching you for a few years now, so really impressed. Down below, over in the corner over there is Ryan, the collector kid.
Hey, yeah.
He's in a different time zone as well. So we're on the east coast of Australia, and it's like 10 p.m. here pretty much. He's on the west coast of Australia, and they're 3 hours behind. So, 7 o'clock. So,
all right.
That's Ryan. Below me, Scott Crusher. Another mate we've known for about 15, 18 months. Known both of these guys for 15, 18 months. We're all the same YouTubers that have just loved Ninja Turtles, Ghostbusters, Motu, you name it. We love it. And down below you there at the moment, we're going to make you big shortly, Ed, if you don't mind, being the special guest. We have Dean. Now, Dean, as you can see there, Dean is a massive fan, Ed. I'd have to say we've invited Dean on. We've probably known him about 12 months. And you can see he's got a jumper there of yours.
Oh, wow. Thanks, man.
Yeah,
Thanks so much.
I'll tell you a quick story. We had a Christmas catch up just before Christmas. Dean invited us over to his house with his family, and we sat there for probably 3 hours having lunch. The whole time, your channel was playing in the background. The whole 3 hours.
There you go.
It's just easy listening. Come on.
So we're massive fans. So we once again thank you very much for joining us, Ed. Let's chat toys.
Thanks for having me, man. Thanks for having me. I always wonder because most of the stuff we collect, it seems to be based on stuff that was really popular in America, and
correct.
Like how compared to America, would you say Australia got those toy lines? Because I know like TMNT stuff, it was released in '88, but by the time it got big in Europe, it took a couple of years, because I'm from '88, but like I remember seeing like the first ones around like still in stores at like '91 or stuff like that, or like even Masters of the Universe was still like a thing that was in stores, whilst in America was already He-Man New Adventures. So how does how did all those toy lines cascade down to Australia for you guys?
Yeah, Scott, would you like to take
me?
Feel free, Scott. Yeah,
yeah, of course. Ed, first of all, just want to echo everything Matt said in thanking you for joining us, mate. We really do appreciate it. We know you got a ton on, so first of all, just thank you, mate. My experience of it is, and I was born in '84. Most of those big lines, in my experience, at least for my childhood action figure, playing period, we pretty much saw all the major stuff that the States got. But it was definitely late. For me, Turtles was my big first action figure line, my first introduction to action figures. And I was getting 88 figures in 1990, and I was getting 89 figures in 1991, at least as I remember it from birthdays and so on. So definitely those figures made it here. Once it got to the later waves, I don't know. I don't know whether we were still getting them because I kind of moved into the Hasbro wrestling figures. And again, I was just getting those same figures just a couple of years late. And even obscure lines as well, like a random toy line that was a big part of my childhood for about, look, I think of it now as a big part of my childhood, but realistically, it was probably only about 6 months. I'm not sure if you're familiar, Ed, Ring Raiders by Matchbox, like those little planes that go on rings on your finger. Yeah, I mean, that was like a 1988 line. But again, I specifically remember getting them in 1990. So once you get to smaller toy lines, I don't necessarily think they all made it here to Australia. The bigger things generally did, just a bit later on.
Same here. Like I think, like I don't remember. I think when things come out particularly, but like I think my first big love was Motu as a kid. We always grew up with Motu, and that was all. That was always our go-to. That kind of rhymes, Motu go-to. But that was our that was our thing. And like I can see your Ed there. You've got an Eternia. Oh my goodness, I'm so jealous.
Yeah, I still have to figure out a way to put it together because
that's the sort of thing that didn't come out to Australia is the big sets like the Eternia one. I think of a lot of the action figures and smaller vehicles did, but something like the Eternia, I don't think it ever came out here. Don't you agree, Matt? Or
I can't remember seeing it as a kid. Yeah. What about in Belgium, Ed? Did you ever see that as a kid?
I don't remember seeing it, but this is a European one because like the face paint is different and the box is also just European. Because that's like German and French and everything on it. But yeah, like apart from that, did Australia actually have like a Mattel or a Hasbro factory that you know of, or was stuff all just imported?
I think it was all imported for those lines.
Yeah,
I think it was all imported.
We made Star Wars stuff here in Australia. Yes. So, which was called Toll Toys out here in Australia.
Oh, okay.
And they made things like the Land Speeder and different ones like that. And they're quite rare because the company's gone back in the day sort of thing. So, sort of like Palatoy in England.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think they made any. I think all like Mattel stuff was imported.
Okay.
Yeah, it was all imported. We didn't.
That's always like interesting to hear, like what makes the differences or like the exclusives and stuff. Because isn't there like Amigo Wonder Woman that was only released in New Zealand or something like that?
Oh, that's the doll, isn't it? It was a 6-inch doll.
Or it's like that is, some type of card where it's different.
That's right. It was like the bigger size dolls that they had. I think it's one of the rarest ones, isn't it? The Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Is that something that fascinates you, Ed, about toys? Just because we know you do your toy histories, and that something that you've always loved, even before you were collecting the toy histories of companies and toy lines?
Well, like when I started collecting, it was more video games, but I would pick up, toys along the way, and then it kind of like shifted to it. I study marketing, so that's where like the fascination comes from. Like, why was this popular? How did this work, or how did this come about? So that's usually the motivation behind making that stuff, or trying to figure out like, hey, that might be interesting. Why is this different? Why did they change it up for this market? Like why the Star Trek Playmates come out in these boxes in Germany. Then it's like apparently just like a testing, because it's supposed to be on like an actual card back,
Is that a 90s version?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
That's the Die nächste Generation, or like the next generation in German.
That's so cool.
So it was pretty epic.
It's definitely interesting because you've got these ginormous franchises like TMNT and Star Wars, where it's like this set of characters that are recognizable everywhere in the world, in English-speaking countries, in translated to non-English-speaking countries. But it's always really interesting to understand like what the nuances were, what the little what the variants were, and the minor changes for different markets around the world. From a childhood perspective, one thing I was, you asked us about what was our experience of these American toy lines in Australia. I was really curious to know. Obviously, it seems like your collection is very much dominated by the big toy lines, the American franchises. But were there? either Belgian specific or European specific cartoons and toy lines that we would have no idea about that were a part of your childhood, or was it like us, just American cartoons and toy lines that were released over in your market?
Well, there's definitely IPs that are, only released in Europe, but they wouldn't go as far to like getting an actual like action figure or anything. It was more like these comic books, these European comic books that would, get like a cartoon, and they would get like a tiny PVC figure, something like that, but it would never get to that point where there's articulation and like a mass consumption thing. I like Belgium's really small, so for something to have that like that reach, it's tough. But there's definitely some IPs that came out of Europe, but just never translated well to toy form, honestly. So there's definitely a lot of stuff that came from America. Also, a lot of stuff originating from Japan. So like the Bandai stuff that would get like their first reincarnation for the French market, and then it would also translate to the Mexican market like that before even reaching the US.
Gotcha.
I'm probably wrong, but like think of stuff like Dragon Ball Z or Captain Flum or some of those Shoguns and stuff like that. Robo Story.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Okay.
But it could be like one of those French things, because I live in the Flemish part of Belgium.
Yeah.
Never really learned French that much, but yeah.
Okay.
I think like I don't know what they call it in English, but it's like a comic book, and Steven Spielberg, he actually did like an animation movie on it, like over it's called Garfia. Like it's like a detective type of dude with like a small dog. That's like the only thing I can think of, but apparently Robo Story is also one. So
There you go.
I saw someone ask a comment about Captain Power.
Yeah.
Captain Power is, you can never really find it in Australia at all, Ed. I was actually lucky enough just to find these three.
Oh wow, yeah,
little ones. But
I can show you.
Sorry,
You're just showing it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So I know that TV show. We had one VHS tape in our house, so it's a 1987 TV show.
Okay.
So was it big over there? Did you guys?
I don't think it lasted long. That whole thing. I never heard about it, or the whole thing of like being able to interact with the TV screen. But I like aftermarket stuff. I do see it around, and there are certain ones that are only released in Europe or in other markets than America after they shut it down over there. That's The other thing, it was Captain Power, and what was the other thing? GoBots. I think it's just I automatically turn to Transformers, but I do see GoBots. Like there were GoBots this morning at like the collector thing. So they are around here. I think maybe like in the UK there's more GoBots, but it's just like a little less popular, so less people pay attention to it, I guess. Yeah.
As my mum and dad, they used to get confused because we used to have a lot of Transformers, and I think GoBots were the cheaper option. So all of a sudden there was a scooter and a Jeep Creeper, which was a American World War II Jeep. I've got them there still, but yeah, they were the cheap versions of Transformers for my mum and dad. So it's just, mums and dads, whatever they can afford.
I remember watching like G.I. Joe and being really into it, like the whole Shadow Storm versus Snake Eyes saga that was in the cartoon or something like that. And then I wanted one, but apparently like G.I. Joe was expensive or something. Like, and you would have like these multi-packs of like maybe 20 Leonard figures in it. Yeah, like the core. So my mom was like, you can either get like 20 of these guys or you can get one G.I. Joe. So I think like one birthday I got like one actual G.I. Joe, and all the other stuff I had G.I. Joe wise was just lanterns because there were a lot more of those guys.
Do you still have a lot of your childhood toys, or do you sort of lost them and then had to chase them back again?
Well, the thing is, I was obsessed by turtles, so I never let go of that. But that was like the one thing, like, I'm never gonna sell this, but we set up like a kitty flea market 2 years in a row, and that's where I got rid of like Toxic Crusaders, Biker Mice, all that stuff. We did find the box of leftovers from that flea market back a while, like a couple of years ago. So there was still like my first Skeleton Warrior in there and stuff. So that's
cool.
pretty cool.
So you had to get them all back again.
Yeah.
So when you, sorry, Matt, you go, man.
I was just going to. Does this mean anything to anyone? How does Rotsack?
So Rotsack is one of the bands I play in. There, that's probably. So I play in a post-hardcore band called Rotsack, and we like we're working on a new record now. We did a little bit of touring in Europe last year, which was fun because I would like sneak off after sound check and go find like vintage toy stores.
That's so cool. So in your downtime, you're just like, I'm just gonna go and toy collect.
Yeah, like
so cool.
You guys can go drinking. I'll just go and find like a toy shop. You know,
that's awesome.
And like one of the ones I actually did a video on in Denmark. I was looking it up, and it was this dude called Bobby and Ruben or something like that, and it's a hairdresser salon.
That's right.
Where they specialize in mullets, but they also have toys everywhere, and they sell it.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that was like, wow, this is amazing. So how does it gel together? It seems like a lot of people that grew up the same age, they're into punk rock or hardcore or metal, but they also have like that weird edge where I like Street Sharks. I like Turtles. Like it's the lingo we still use. Like even like hardcore bands from like the early 90s. There's like a documentary about Liar, which is like this legendary H-1000 band over here. And in the documentary they did, he's like showing them his Star Wars collection and being like, it's like good against evil. It's like we want to be the straight edge guys compared to like the guys that drink and don't are not into that, so he made like this analogy between like Star Wars and why you would choose like a straight edge lifestyle or not.
That's awesome.
What were you going to ask? Sorry, Scott, before I
was just going to ask Ed. I found it interesting that, the turtles stayed with you, the childhood turtles. You made a point of saying, no, they mean too much to me to part with in the garage sale. Were they kind of like always at the forefront for you? Like, they were kind of kept on display and stuff like that? Or were they packed away and the collecting bug bit you at some point as an adult and they came out again and that kick-started the adult collection? How did that work? I
never displayed them, but like my mom, she would, because she had like a shop in one of the big cities, and she would like actively go out and look for like big plushies that were used to like promote turtle shoes and stuff, and be like, after you're done with that, can my son have it? She actually got me like store displays and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Back in the day. So I always had that as a kid, and it just stuck with me because I took that over to my dorm room in university. I took it over in the first house, and that's always stuck with me. But yeah.
So
Yeah,
were you
so,
collecting in those years, like the uni years? Were you buying toys or not?
Not
Not
really.
About that?
I remember doing like evening school whilst I was still in like what is it, junior high or something, like when I was like 16, and going like, because it was like Word and Excel and all that stuff, and I already knew it, so I was actually just during those classes on eBay checking out like, oh wow, this is so expensive, all this turtle stuff, because I didn't have any money.
Yeah.
And that kind of like always stuck with me, like turtles collecting is really expensive.
So
Is now, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
now it is, but back then it was like, like it was just cool seeing like all that stuff. But that was me when I was like 16, and then I started collecting games, and I always had in the back of my mind like, collecting turtles, it's too expensive, I shouldn't do it. And then like Toy Hunter came on, and like they're like pumping up the price for certain items just to make it more interesting for anybody to watch. If it's about money, everybody watches. So that kind of like, again, like went into like, oh, maybe I just shouldn't collect it. But then my girlfriend started taking me to flea markets, because I was like, I want to buy video games. Oh well, they're at the flea market. So that's when I started doing like 6 or 8 flea markets each weekend. And no, you see like a tub of turtles, and it's like, yeah, how much? $10? Okay, I'll take it. That's what I did for like 15 years. So
that's awesome.
Oh man, yeah, I wish it was still those days. $10 boxes of mixed
that'd be
beers.
awesome.
I know I'm gonna have to get a 3D scratch because I'm never getting a real one.
I bought like a full collection last year, and the only one that wasn't in there was a scratch. So yeah. I've had the chance to buy some for like really cheap compared to what they go for now, and I should have done it. Like I could have had one for 300, but yeah, just dumb,
Staying with turtles, Ed. We've all seen your video with Kevin Eastman, but what was that like? Just on a side note, like meeting like one of the 2 creators of biggest toy line.
At first, like, it was pretty tough getting it, being able to film with him, and I was like, yeah, we can do like 20 minutes or half an hour. No, it's like 5 minutes, and so I managed to squeeze like, I think 8 out. But he was super nice. Like, I never had that connection of turtles specifically to him, because I grew up on the cartoon and the toys. It was maybe a bit more interesting meeting Steve Varner live stream, because he actually sculpted those toys I love, compared to like the guy that co-made it. Don't get me wrong, like it was super amazing meeting him, but yeah, I never had that big of like meeting Kevin Eastman or anything, because I never like went to like Comic-Cons and waited in line to get like something signed or anything. Like I still haven't gotten anything signed by him. But it was definitely cool reading up on it and doing like all the research I'd done, like to actually sit down with him and do like just like a couple questions, because I'd done like listen to loads of podcasts trying to not replicate like the same questions everybody does. So I kind of like just went into the whole thing of what were the toys you were into, what like, instead of how did you make turtles, how did this go? Everybody already knows that, so but it was pretty cool getting to meet him.
It was a good interview.
I would love to meet like Scott Hensey, the guy that made most of the villains, and like the guys from his crew, because they have some amazing sculpts.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Or the guy from Search Licensing, Mark Friedman, the guy who actually took the Mirage
Yeah.
license, and he started shopping it around. Hey, this should be a cartoon. Hey, this should be
Yeah.
a toy line, like that guy. And then like later he did it with Street Sharks. He did it with tons of stuff like
Yeah.
that. He also tried doing most of it for Toxic Crusaders, but they kind of wanted to keep it in house. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean though. It's like the minds that are a little bit closer to the creation of the toys that we played with, as opposed to people that kind of created these IPs at like a conceptual level. I know what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
So do you still collect a lot of the video games, Ed, or if you keep the video games that you collected, and it's your focus is very much on the toys nowadays?
Well, now the focus is on the toys, but there's also just less good gaming finds, I think.
Yeah.
It's they're tougher to come by. Toys, there's still like new stuff. I already had I had like 7,000 games or something like that.
Yeah.
And I got rid of more than half last summer. So
I remember seeing that.
now I'm still like just sifting through certain ones and being like, oh, I want to keep this. I don't need that. But there's lots of like cool finds and stories. Like most of the stuff I buy is I've maybe bought 4 things on eBay so far.
Wow.
And all the other stuff is either buying it at a collector or picking it up somewhere. There's always like a story behind it.
Like in all of your collecting, just a handful of things on eBay.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but I guess it's maybe like more difficult in Australia because like I used to watch Woodhawker. He has a channel called Beat 'em Ups. I think it's still called that. But he started out as doing like a Game Chaser-esque show in Australia. And it was like super tough for him to find things over there because the flea markets either didn't have toys or they didn't have games. Well, we would always have to go to like a collector to buy stuff and buy it at like retail almost. Is it like a really scarce market, aftermarket, or like secondhand market toy wise for you guys? Do you have to resort to a lot of eBay, or is it also just because you're so far apart certain parts of Australia?
I mean, like my experience is you really have to go to collector fairs, like toy fairs. Vintage stores are few and far between. There's really not a lot of them. And when you go to trash and treasure markets, everybody if something's vintage, it's almost like, oh, okay, regardless of what it is, regardless of what condition it's in, I know that this is worth money. So it's very difficult to walk around a collector's market or a trash and treasure market and like be picking up boxes of old toys, for a nice price. That's the challenge.
It used to be bigger. It used to be bigger in the 90s in Australia. So before eBay came in, there was we did have a lot of trash and treasure. They were called witches flea markets. On a Sunday, and I did pick up a lot of vintage toys. But when eBay came in and everyone realised that you could get money for these toys, it sort of started that sort of collecting type buzz. And then everyone knows now how much a vintage toy is, and it's really hard to find them there at those flea markets and that now.
It is.
Yeah. Wow.
Facebook online auctions. That's kind of the new thing now.
That's the new thing. Yeah. Sometimes you can snag a bargain there.
Yeah, and then they're doing the importing. They're really buying lots, America and things like that, shipping it over, and and there's good deals. It's still better than eBay prices. To
me, the Facebook live auction scene in Australia is similar to what I see going on with Whatnot in the US. People are just doing that on Facebook here in Australia. So, but again, it's collectors. It's collectors selling it to other collectors. So. You're not getting things for a steal, but there's plenty of fair deals to be had, on those live Facebook auctions.
So with that, Ed, you said you only bought 4 things on eBay, and you do a lot of traveling. So there's Eddie Goes UK, Eddie Goes Mexico, USA. Is that a great way? Obviously, probably is a great way to find a lot of things, but is there any Eddie Goes Aussie, or And he goes,
Well,
"Asia?"
like definitely
We've
like
probably not
Australia
sold Australia
would
very
be
well.
Not now, no.
like
Eddie down
Australia
under.
would be very cool to visit. But like which part, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Sydney,
which
of
part
course.
would you visit? Same thing with Japan. That's also like still on the list of eventually I'll hopefully be able to visit it. And to me it's not about like going there and finding like the grail of Australian grails that are out there. It's just like having a good time, getting to know the collectors there, the collector scene.
Yep.
And if I happen to find something that, you know, I can kind of like attach those memories of that trip to, that's for me like one of the coolest things. In June, me and Maddie will be going over to Norway because we got invited to go to a toy convention there. So I'm looking forward to that. In April, we're heading back to Chicago to that big collector fair. But like I'm spending money on traveling there anyways, so like it's not like I'm heading out there with like $2,000
Yeah.
ready to spend it all. It's like I want to shoot content,
Sure.
and hopefully people like it. But there's a lot of ifs and buts and you know to all that. Like you never know like if it's even worth, you know, filming. So yeah.
Will you catch up with Craig and the guy Narc and Greco and those guys?
Yeah, like what we have planned now for April is going to be pretty crazy. Just like from the itinerary that we have now, like what we're going to do, it'll be pretty wicked. Last time we just went and like didn't expect anything and like crazy stuff happened. I'm not sure if I'm like best at like portraying that in videos though, but I just try. I know like people like the history videos better than like the hunting videos, so I'm really trying to make those videos more efficient so I have more time to actually do like toy history again. I've like written 4 now because I'm trying to like create like a buffer before I start releasing them again. But they take a lot of time, and obviously when we're out filming stuff like that with Narc and Greco, it's like if we get to sleep like 5 or 6 hours, it's a lot.
I bet.
We're constantly just like it's weird. Like once we get together, like people will start messaging us like in the area we're at, and it'll be like, oh, you can come over here and do this, or you can come over there and do that, and like stuff just starts unfolding.
Itinerary goes out the window.
Same thing with Mexico. I was there for 2 days, and maybe we slept 8 hours in total.
Yeah, wow.
And was that only 2 days?
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool hunting videos within that period that came out.
Yeah, we did. I think we did like 8 videos or something like that, and
that's amazing.
Days, something like that.
Was half of those figures knockoffs or what? They when you went to Mexico, it looks like 3/4 of them were all knockoff figures.
Well, that's the insane thing. It's not just the knockoffs. Maybe because I'm drawn to the knockoffs over there because it's like it's something we were talking about the whole time, you know?
Yeah.
But it had so much vintage there. It was like walking around at a flea market during the 90s.
That's amazing.
That's
like
wild.
actual, just like regular turtles out and about on the floor, people digging through them like they're, you know. Yeah, we see this all the time, and yeah, just
how do you not scoop them all up?
Yeah, I was like usually I was like dependent on Raul, just to translate because I can't speak Spanish, you know. So yeah, I was like how much is this? Oh, it's that much. How much is it in dollar? And then he'd be like, "Well, it's like $5 or like $3 or something.
Yeah.
You shouldn't buy it. We'll come across another one way cheaper, like I think the most I spent there was $18 on like a
Wow.
Critters replica.
Yeah.
That thing was insane. But it's the first time you go there. We went to like this one shop where they had a lot of Mexico made toys, like still in the original packaging, which is a lot of times different. And it's over there that I probably should have picked up a Los Amos boxed He-Man figure or a Motu figure, and one of those tiny window boxes G.I. Joes that looked like the original Action Man or the original G.I. Joe or Bionic Man, like those that type of packaging, but then like shrunk down, before there was one comment like, do you do this full time? No, I have a full-time job. This is like my hobby,
Yep. I'm the same. Work full time, do this on the side.
Yeah. There's a compliment for you too. It's very true.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, man. I guess like there's a lot of like really good channels. I usually watch and listen to like Tony, like Analog Toys. He has great stuff, great deep dives. Certainly like on the Pallet Toy stuff and like the Action Man stuff, the stuff he did with Bob Brescian, the guy that sculpted a lot of that. That's great. Retro Blasting, I love that. Toy Galaxy, and Pixel Dan. There also used to be an Australian channel called Leftover Culture.
Yeah.
Yep.
He had like a ton of like Mighty Max stuff, and he did like a video on Toxic Crusaders, but this was like 10 years ago. Because when I started out, it was like watching, Game Chasers, Pat the NES Punk, or AVGN, and they would like sometimes do like these deeper dives on certain toy lines and talk about that. But it took a while to get like some good toy channels that would pump out content like every week, something new. After a while I found it.
Was that
now there's a lot more people doing it, so that's always fun to see as well. I don't know if you guys saw the Toy Shop on Tour videos yet.
Yeah, Leicester Vintage Toys. Was that those guys?
Yeah, those are also pretty freaking amazing.
For sure.
Yeah, I've been watching all their episodes. Amazing where they go, and like France, Italy, Germany, incredible.
Yeah, well, it must be awesome, Ed. Just obviously you're in Europe, you're close to the UK. You can jump on a 3-hour flight. We'd still be in Australia, but you can be on the other side of Europe.
Like I take a train to London.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it just goes underneath like the water, like the ocean.
That's right.
Yeah.
I take a train.
Cool.
Going back.
Sorry.
No, you go, Andrew. It's all good.
No, I was just going to ask Ed with those. I mean, we watch Attic Invaders, and when you're over in the States, I mean, we just don't have any of those type of collector. We've got a couple, like 1 or 2 collector shops, but all those ones you guys go to, and we see things that we've never seen before. It's just amazing. I mean, I was saying to myself, how can you hold back? You go, I'm going to get that, or I'm going to get that.
It's like London or like the UK, they really come near the amount of cool stuff they have in American shops. So that's something they definitely have. There's still a couple that I want to visit in Europe that are apparently good, and like the Attic Invaders might be coming to Europe in summer. So
sweet.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Wow.
So I'm like super stressed out trying to figure out a way to
plan it all,
find,
accommodate
stuff to do, and I think we're just gonna do like a Euro trip, like really like head into Amsterdam and Brussels and Paris and London. So like really do something awesome. Like that.
I was thinking about that question too, Ed. I was thinking, I thought to myself, if you ever did come to Australia, what would be the place that we could take Ed on a bit of a road trip? But I'm feeling it may be Melbourne. I don't know if you've heard of Melbourne. You would have heard of Melbourne, surely.
Melbourne, yeah.
Melbourne.
Melbourne.
That's how they say
Melbourne,
it.
Melbourne.
We say it a bit strangely.
No.
No, like I think at the moment, like we hit Melbourne at the end of last year, and that we found there was just so many amazing shops, and didn't we? Like there was what was the one we went to, Scott, again?
Lobos, Aaron's. Yeah, I mean, I do feel like Melbourne. I mean, it's quite clearly the toy capital of Australia.
Yeah.
For vintage toy stores, it's got to be Melbourne. I look, I'm a proud Sydney sider, so I think Sydney we have better toy fairs. Personally, from my experience, but Melbourne's definitely got the better vintage toy stores and those antique markets and stuff like that. Melbourne's great when it comes to that.
Okay.
But not quite. Look, you'd only, if you came to Australia, you'd only have to bring one empty suitcase instead of probably the 3 empty suitcases that you have to take when you go to the US. So.
No, it's just one, honestly. But adding back into the US shops, it's insane the inventory they have.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's the opportunity you have in the US if you put the time and effort into it for collecting or for reselling. You can do it, like if you head into all those garage sales, if you apply yourself and try to get the contacts and stuff, you can actually do it. Like I remember we bought like this sidewalk deal where we bought like 6 big boxes filled with stuff. We each put $170 in, and we got back 2 days later, flipped some stuff on Whatnot, and I was already up 140.
Oh wow!
Like I made double and got to keep everything I wanted to keep. So
it's incredible.
That's and like other times it's just like you head into a garage sale and you ask, "Oh, what do you have in the attic?" So we started climbing up and getting stuff down. But there's a lot more of those clearance sales there, or like just the intention of parents, I'm gonna buy this toy for my kid, but he breaks it a lot, so I might as well just get a second one in case. And that's the stuff that's still up there.
Wow.
Like the things that people would bring down, and I'm like, why do you even have room for this?
Yeah.
Like, why is it up there?
Incredible.
And it's crazy. There's just like maybe just a little bit more of materialistic stuff happening over there, or just like people buying just to buy, or I don't know, like it's on clearance, I might as well just get it.
Just get it.
It seems like Texas is a real hotspot when it comes to vintage toys. I don't know if it's just the way it appears in the videos of when you're visiting with Craig, or Craig's videos, Not Another Retro Channel. And it just seems like Dallas Vintage Toys is there's a bunch of vintage toy stores right there in that Dallas Fort Worth area, or Greater Texas. I'm not too sure. It seems like a great spot.
There's a lot of there's a lot of really good stores there near Craig's. But like Texas is almost as big as like center of Europe, so it's kind of like combining 4 or 5 countries in Europe, so something like that. I think just statistically it makes sense that it's all there. And there's no language barriers, which is like something we struggle with in Europe. I think definitely to get different so much languages stuff.
Translate.
Or like I think now there's like this thing called Vinted, which is like this online app thing where you can buy anything and it ships it, but like it will translate the Italian seller's thing to somebody in the Netherlands.
Oh wow!
It feels like they're just buying it in the Netherlands, but it's shipped all the way from Italy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, shipping is a bit of a killer. Like, when it comes to I try to limit eBay as much as I can and save it for toy fairs where I can. But naturally, because of what we described, like eBay is a collector's best friend here. But unless you want to spend more on shipping than for the item itself, you got to kind of limit yourself to eBay Australian sellers, because shipping from the US or from the UK to here is just crazy.
It's too expensive.
It just blows out the value even more.
Yeah, like a $10 action figure cost you $50 to ship it from the US.
Yeah.
And then tax on top of that. Yeah.
I saw a question that someone asked if that was your room, Ed. Now, we know it is, and you're renovating. Is the renovations just to fit more in? Like, is there tubs of toys that you just can't display?
Well, it's like at first it was like mainly to put games in.
Yeah.
And it had guitars in it and all different stuff, but now like toys just
dominated.
Yeah.
And you need a fit.
It's kind of like I'm actually just redoing the room to accommodate like an easier space to do toy history videos in.
Oh, nice.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's the main thing about it. Have more stuff that's clear to see and just get out instead of having to move everything around constantly.
Nice.
We know that.
So is space much of is space a concern for you when you're out toy hunting, Ed? Like, obviously, I've seen your Empire Toys 1138 collection room tour of your collection, and I also saw those boys doing a bit of toy hunting down in your basement. Like, you've obviously got a ton of stuff. When you're out toy hunting, are you like, oh, I don't have a spot to display this, so I'm not going to buy it, or do you just like buy everything and just worry about where to put it later on? Like, do you think about that? When you're out on the hunt, or it's a secondary concern?
There's a lot of factors that you have to consider within that. It depends on the deal.
Like,
if I'm seeing like a boxed Big Jim camper van and it's $5, I'm picking it up. Even though that's like this huge thing. But
you just said Andrew's magic word there, Ed.
Yeah, I got one right here, mate.
Andrew's got one.
Grew up in the 70s, so Big Jim was the first sort of toys I got when I was a kid, and I love them.
Unfortunately, like today they were asking 80 for it or something like that, so I didn't pick that up. But like it depends on like how much I want it, definitely like the Eternia was something like, okay, I know I'm buying it and I have to make room for it, and now we're 2 years down the line, it's still not put together, and now we're gonna have this over here as like a centerpiece thing, honestly.
God bless you, Ed.
And I'm decorating the room where it'll be like playmates over there, and then you will have like a part of Kenner, and over here there's like Hasbro stuff. And that's like great. in the back over there now there's like He-Man castles, but that's all gonna be also like displayable real estate. Now it's just boxes with, because I have like a ton of card at TMNT, but I never display it because it's it just takes up too much space. And I kind of like want to keep it in this room though, so not like take up another room, but
start spreading throughout the house.
But there's still like a couple of Grayley pieces, like the Shogun Godzilla, something like that. I would make room for that,
Absolutely.
And I still have an attic up here to store boxes in. I think
that's great.
There's a potential of like 80 more big boxes that I can put on there for stuff I really want to hold on to,
So it sounds like space is not an issue at all then.
Not now. And like the stuff you saw like in that video in the basement, it's like people reach out to me for like buying their collections. Or getting like an appraisal on it. And sometimes I just see a benefit in like maybe I should get this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because like the thing I usually say is like, well, it's worth this much if you want to put the time and effort into it for, you know, trying to sell everything at once. If you want to get like a quote on like what's a good bundle deal, then it would be this. And sometimes it would be in the line of what I would be willing to pay for it, depending on like certain things that are in it that I really want, you know. Sometimes it just stops at like me saying like it's worth this much, or I would check this or check that out. But yeah, you also have to get rid of all those things that you don't put in your collection, you know. So I set up at like maybe 3 events over the course of a year, and then I just try to sell it, you know. Keep some money.
That's it. I do toy fairs as well, so I do about 3 a year. So it's a way that I can keep my collection going and do some traveling as well.
Never sell anything. That's the key.
Well, Andrew, was like Big Jim like a big thing in Australia, or?
Yeah, well, it was. It was sort of. I mean, I got a fair bit of it. The Big Jim camper van and the bike. There was like a diver. A diver here that was one of my favourites. That one there.
Okay.
See there.
Yeah.
That one before came with a big clam, and he sort of, you can open it. Whoop.
Oh wow.
Sorry. Yeah, came with a big clam, and he dives down and can slam on his feet and things like that. But yeah, it was pretty big here and in Italy, I think, as well.
Yeah.
So well, that was because Matt and I were born in the 70s. So this was my childhood toys before Star Wars came around. So really love Big Jim.
Yeah, I never pulled the trigger on getting one yet. I do have like the monkey and the alligator and the eagle, the tiger. You know. Yeah.
There's a lot in the line, and they and of course they repurposed a lot of those toys too for Mattel.
That's why they're interesting to me as well. Yeah. But like I kind of like want to figure out what it is about Big Jim that's so interesting as well. Because it's not like he had a cartoon.
Sort of male type of doll, you could say at the time, other than Ken.
Joe.
I smell a toy history coming up. I said I smell a toy history coming up on Big Jim.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Spoiler.
Have to wait and see.
Did you ever start looking at sort of like the older stuff too? Like, I mean, talking about Big Jim, but other 70s lines or, pre-80s sort of things? I know you grew up in the 80s, but...
Yeah. I think it's interesting to see. Like, I think, like, what I really like doing is just asking people to talk about that stuff that know about it, you know, like definitely like in certain toy shops I'll try to get like the owner to talk about things. And one of those dudes, like Ian from the Vintage Toy Monster in the UK, he also goes over to Chicago, and he's just buying like all this crazy 70s stuff that I have no clue about. So what I'll usually do is just get him to talk about it, you know, on camera and be like, "Oh wow, this is amazing!" Like him just talking for 10 minutes about Bionic, the $6 Million Man. That helped me a lot more than like doing 2 hours of research, because he was like, "This is important. This is what you need. This is that guy. This is the Bigfoot. Why is it so expensive? Did you know that the Bigfoot is actually reused as Chewbacca's mold in the bigger line and stuff like that?" So
I
was like, "Wow, okay, I didn't know all that."
That's awesome.
And it's also really interesting. Like, you know, it's also interesting just from like a the emotional connection that people had with those toys that were before your time. Like that to me is a really cool thing about talking toys with guys like Matt and Andrew, is that you know, a little bit prior to me. So it's understanding what those toys. You know, it's cool to understand, you know, what the waves were and what accessories came with what, and those kind of like rational things. But then I also find it really interesting to understand like the emotional connection, the nostalgia, you know, what it was about them that like made you want to ask your parents for them for Christmas, you know, or for your birthday.
Yeah.
Those sorts of things are always really cool to chat with other collectors as well.
Yeah, because like I think like Big Jim, it didn't have a cartoon or like a live action show, did it? Or...
No.
No, it didn't. No.
So was it just like the
toys.
the commercial that really like spoke to
Just
you,
sold it?
or yeah?
Well, they sold it not just in toy shops. Like they had sort of like department stores, you could say, that sold all sorts of other things. And I remember my parents got that one from there. So it was sort of like it was called Norman Ross, which is a store called Harvey Norman now that only sells TVs and electrical. But back in the 70s, they sold toys.
Oh, wow.
And I remember seeing them on the shelves back in the 70s, and obviously later on they picked it up for Christmas or birthday or whatever. But yeah, but back in the old days, it's sort of like that was the thing. It was your birthday, they took you down to the toy shop, to those old type toy stores, and go pick something out.
You get one.
You know, so there wasn't really a cartoon, or other than, well, sort of something like Batman or things like that back in the 70s, which we were
So was Mego also like a big player for you guys then, or
yes,
like Planet of the Apes and like all
was,
those comic book oriented characters? Or
yeah. So Mego did heaps, and they like Buck Rogers, you know, things like that. We got that, and because they were quite cheap back then. Those little Mego 3 3/4 figures are only like I think Buck Rogers was probably only like $1.50 or something, or you know, around about the $1 mark. You know. And,
did you have the 8-inch figures, Andrew, as well for Mego?
Yes, it was the superheroes.
Yeah, didn't you have a bunch of those as well?
In the 70s and that, yeah, they had the superhero line, and they were quite cheap as well, and they'd be in the grocery stores actually in Australia. They'd sell toys as well. So yeah, it was a go along and cry till you got something put in the trolley, I suppose. And you know, that is how you got your figure.
You spoiled brat.
Now we pay for the noise to get them back.
Yeah, I know.
Did you guys also get like Lone Ranger? That
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember as a kid we got one each. I've got Lone Ranger. My brother's got Tonto, and the other one got Wild Bill. So they got sold. I mean, of course, like now I've got the I should make myself big, shouldn't I? Make everyone else big. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
There you go. So that's the Lone Ranger on card.
Oh wow.
And it's actually
but there's also like action, like Big Jim sized ones, you know?
Oh wow.
Yeah, they did doll ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So I haven't got the horse. Yeah, they did, yeah. But I don't have the horses. So that's the Gabriel ones. Is that one you're talking about, Ed? Those ones?
It could be like it's one of those things like the generation before me, those are like the things they're looking for now, like really tough to find and come across. Those like they're tucked away in attics, and yeah. There is an 8-inch line as well that I know what you're talking about. I'm not sure who made that 8-inch line. Was it, if it was Gabriel or maybe Mego as well? Mego. I don't know if it's Mego or Marks or
Might be Marks.
I should do more research before I ask that stuff.
There's another toy histories coming up.
I don't know, but it's just because there's so many people like really coming up to me like, "Hey, have you seen Lone Ranger stuff?" And I'm like, I don't know. Like,
yeah.
So that was kind of like the thing, like triggering, like what is this? Like,
do you get in your head, for example, if you're interested in, say, Filmation Ghostbusters, and you get a figure? Do you get in your head and you go exploring on the net and researching all about the Ghostbusters filmation line and everything that's involved in that line. Do you go off and research a line when you all of a sudden become interested, like Bucky O'Hare? Did you go off and research thoroughly about that, and or you just what do you do?
Yeah. There's not a lot of lines I haven't heard of by now.
Yeah.
But I do always like this is like I didn't know this existed, but this is
What?
a Dungeons and Dragons one of the
TSR?
PVC ones, like the TSR hobby ones, because there's also where is he? Because you have the LGN ones.
Yes.
This was like a pickup from this morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
I saw this one initially, and then the guy pointed out this is also Dungeons and Dragons. I'm like, thank you, because like I couldn't read it what it said under the thing over
On
there.
the bottom there.
So this is like the horror hook, and I was telling the guy like, well, it doesn't have any accessories, and he's like, no, it doesn't come with any accessories, so it's complete. Like, wow, it's like really bland. So
one.
yeah, so yeah, and then this one, because like Boston Mike, he gave me a ton of these already from one of the last trips I did to the US. So I was like crazy to find some Dungeons and Dragons stuff. I really like it. That's one of those lines where I did do some more digging and research, and like the fun stuff about like how certain things got banned for that, and like the controversy. For me, it's usually like finding something that has a cool story about it.
Yeah.
And there's a new movie for that too, so everyone will be on the hunt.
Yeah, there's a new one coming out.
That's no good, is it? For people like me who I'm just trying to get a couple more of the advanced Dungeons and Dragons. It's the Goblin and the Troll that I used to have as a kid, and it's really hard to hunt them down, and they only can get them in America, very pricey. So yeah, that probably won't work well for me.
Yeah. But it's a fun line to collect for. There's not a lot of competition over here for it, at least.
Yeah.
When I went to the UK, there was a ton of it, so something I'm keeping my eye open for, definitely.
For future toy hunts.
Yeah.
It's always nice to collect those lines that not a lot of people have jumped on yet, so you know you don't have too many other collectors competing with you in search of it. So
yeah, and I'm pretty glad that it doesn't seem like Stranger Things has pumped up the market for the toys.
Yeah,
really good, because I was like, oh, well, this is gonna,
it's gonna jump it up.
That
fourfold and stuff. Yeah.
That Netflix toy, the toys that made us. That went crazy.
Really? Yeah.
Great docos, but that pushed the price up when they came out.
Yeah, when those came out.
Yeah, people figured it out. Yeah, that helped them figure it out. Do you buy new toys for old IPs? Like, they make a lot of good toys these days.
During COVID, I started like, and even like before, because it was like the first time they were doing it, you know, like the Ultimates or the Master Universe Origins. I got like a couple of those. But I had never anticipated on it being more than like a 1 year thing.
What about the Nickelodeon? Like, so the TMT. Like, I decided to get the Nickelodeon series they did in 2012 because I thought, well, they're in the shops, and I thought it'd be easier to collect. So, you know, I sort of like concentrated and got all them instead of getting the vintage line in the Turtles.
Yeah, there's a couple of tougher ones to get in that line as well. The 2012.
Yeah, I think I'm only missing one, and that's Muckman was the last one.
Yeah, the mail away exclusive, right?
Yeah, but most of them all came through. They all came through into Australia here. So in the big play sets and things like that. Yeah, they're great made toys too. They're really well made. Those ones.
Yeah. And like those prototypes are now like surfacing as well.
Yeah,
so, it's good to keep an eye out for, because they're not like $5,000 yet.
Yeah.
Like a kennel one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like new toys, I'm just not a player anymore. Like I don't care. Like I think like definitely like being in Europe, I guess Australia is probably the same, but like a TMNT Ultimates figure, it's already like $70 or some of them are 90, and then you have to pay shipping and import. It's like I think like the glow in the dark mutagen man I got ended up being 120 euros.
Wow.
So I'm like I'm not paying that 4 times for like a wave or something. So I'm just not buying new stuff. I'm just buying vintage, honestly.
I bought
understand.
I bought those reproduction turtles. You know how they're bringing them out in little 4-packs.
Yeah. There's a
Put it my intention that I'll never own all the turtles on card. I'm kind of a loose collector as it is, but I thought for my kids, they may be able to open them because I've heard that what they're made out of is not great, and like when you see toy reviews on them, they're not greatly built.
Oh, really? They're not up to the thing?
That's just
No.
Pixel Dan is really nice. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. No,
Sorry,
he's one of the nicest
that's
guys
under the radar.
out there. Yeah.
We need Pixel Dan to do a TMNT book like he's Masters of the Universe.
He's doing it. He's working on it.
I heard he was, but I wasn't 100%.
Yeah, he's working on it. Yeah.
If He-Man was this thick, like Turtles is going to be like this.
I think they're doing it in 2 parts, though.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Or I mean, that's one thing I heard.
Any ETA spoiler that you heard?
No, just that they're working on something like that, something similar, but they have to split it up. That's what I heard. Yeah.
It's a really good read, The Masters.
Yeah,
it's a
definitely.
brilliant book. What from the Masters line do you need left, Ed? Like,
I need the 3 dinosaurs and the 2 giant.
Oh, those giants. Oh, gee.
Yeah.
It's a
And
nightmare.
I really want to get Starship Eternia again. I had it boxed from like, and then like there was like the space issue back then. I was I had like a G.I. Joe General boxed, and I had the Spaceship Eternia. And I got the Spaceship Eternia for like 50 cents because it was like this.
It's amazing.
It was crazy because it was this this thrift store, or like an organized thrift store, like we have a couple in Belgium, and they had toys, but you paid by the pound or like by the kilo.
Yeah.
So I put the thing on, and it's like it doesn't weigh anything. So it's like €1.20, I think, or 40 cents.
That's
So
incredible.
I was like, well, yeah, sure, I'll get that, you know. But then I sold it, and now I like really like it.
What would that cost now? What are we looking?
They got one.
I think I can get one for like 150 euros. I think some of them go for like 200, which isn't too bad, you know. Like it's not like a 500.
It's not 50 cents,
you know. I know, but yeah.
So you got to take Andrew's advice, Ed. He says sell nothing. Remember?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
We just didn't know Andrew at the time.
Andrew is walking the fine tightrope between collecting and hoarding.
Yeah.
I had to buy a bigger 58 square home just to put the crap in.
What are you trying to get lately, Andrew? Something quite
a flag.
The G.I. Joe flag.
There's a fellow that we know in our west of Sydney. He's got his own collector's store, and he bought a $30,000 G.I. Joe collection. And one of it was the flag. And when I saw it there, I was hanging on to his ankle going, give me. Because the first those sort of toys, what do you recommend? I don't think they ever turned up in Australia. Those big play sets.
Apparently they did. Apparently they did. I think it was like, but I can't remember them as a kid because I really wasn't allowed to get toys. I think that big. I think someone said they seen them for about 400 Australian back in the day.
Oh
in
wow!
Kmart. So that's a massive toy for a child to get. That's our parents weren't that rich. So
no.
Look, I'm sorry, guys. I just need to interrupt. I'm just aware of the time, Ed, because we've had you now for an hour. I don't know if you need to go. And
my kid's asleep, so I can hang around for another half hour. So
yeah. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'd appreciate
if you
that.
want to.
Yeah,
if you want
for
to.
Sure, for
Yeah.
sure.
It's Ed. Come on. Of course we do. Well, how about if we just do this for another 15, and then maybe then we'll just start. We'll end the broadcast and we'll go backstage and just chat for another 10.
Yeah,
15
perfect.
with people.
Perfect, man. Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah, excellent.
Cool.
Really appreciate it. That's excellent.
Did you see Scuba Pete's Eternia he put together?
Sorry.
And then Scuba Pete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you see
I saw that.
And he broke the rail.
I have the rail right here.
Is that the original rail?
Yeah.
Yeah, he broke an original rail. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's incredible.
So when he put his together, he broke it, and we were sort of crying when we saw it.
The guy I bought it from, he was like, "I'm not taking this thing apart.
Yeah,
like, you have to. I don't care what you do, but you have to."
Oh, you don't have to pull it apart to put it on the playset.
No, indeed. Like people that have Eternias, they say like just get like the repro on eBay. Because I mean I have this one and it works because when I bought it off of him, he had it in working condition. So
set up. Yeah.
I'll just put this on, hopefully. I've been asking like the guy, hey, can you come and help set it up?
You gotta film it as you do it, so just in case that sort of thing happens, and you get your kids on YouTube. Then
Get it on.
I hope not. I hope not.
Right. Edit that out.
No, we'd have to see it. Scuba had to play it, so Ed'll have to play it too. Gotta show all the bloopers as well.
Yeah, like we're like the plan is to do like a pretty extensive video on Eternia, though. Good. With some fun stuff. Yeah, it'll probably be like a toy history. So
nice.
Yeah.
Is your Eternia complete, or are there a couple of small parts you still need?
It's supposed to be like 100% complete. It came out of a shipping box.
Oh wow!
So it would come in like a 2-pack shipping box.
Wow.
And the guy I bought it from, he put it together one, and he kept one in the shipping box and one sealed. And this is like the one he kept for the longest time. Sold off the shipping box, then sold off the sealed one. And this thing was like, he had his old collection that he had to sell. And like 8 years ago, I told him like, I want to buy your Eternia.
Yeah.
And now 2 years ago, he was like, I have to sell my whole collection. If you can find me a buyer, you can have Eternia for the same price I offered it to you 6 years ago.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, I'll find you a buyer. I ended up buying like 1/6 of what he had, though, like in multiple trips, and then like the remainder I had taken pictures of, and he got together with a friend of mine and he bought everything. So
that's awesome.
Modern Eternia snap.
Snap.
Yeah, we had fun about getting him what I'm on, but so good.
What was that?
Matt, I saw Phil from Treasures for Trigger ask Ed a question about the best place in Europe for toy hunting. Did you see that one?
I must have missed that. Sorry. Let me just. Here it is, just up here. Let me flash that up.
Phil asked you, favorite European city for toy hunting. Is there a vintage toy capital of Europe?
I don't think so. I think like from what I've seen so far, I think it would be around London, but in a pretty big vicinity around London. And I've been hearing like good things about Spain, but I want to go and check it out first.
Yeah.
Before everybody goes.
Getting there early.
There's no Texas of Europe.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you're off to Norway, and obviously you've got your trip to the States coming up. Do you have somewhere that's top of the list that you've never been for toy hunting before? That's kind of like top of the bucket list of somewhere in the world you'd like to go to get on a hunt and shoot some content?
I'd really like to go to Japan. Not specifically for just hunting the toys, but like ever since I was collecting video games, I've been wanting to do that.
Yeah.
And I almost went twice. One time I was gonna go with my dad because he had to talk over at like a congress or something like that, and that fell through. And then a couple of years later, I was supposed to fill in on guitar for like a band, and it was all said and done. Like, okay, we're doing it, we're going there. And then 2 months before the original guitarist walks in, I can go anyways.
Huh.
Damn you.
2024, Ed. Book it into your calendar, Ed. 2024, we'll go to Japan.
I don't know. Like, there's talks of like other things. One thing I would definitely love to do again is just Mexico. But now you're saying like there's another part in Mexico that we need to go to, and I also really want to go to Argentina.
Okay.
So if I do something like, it'll probably like be something more that way before the other things. Yeah, I don't know yet.
What's in Argentina? Is it still more knockoffs in Argentina? Is this what's so attractive there?
There's also like officially licensed variants. Like, I don't know if you've heard of the Joska Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I've had a Joska Ghostbusters.
Oh, yes.
Where they put in like other features and stuff like that. So
yeah, they had an Ecto one that lit up.
The Ecto one, it lit up. It has like sound. There's like just tons of different things. Like there's like water functions to some of the ghosts in just like a regular thing. And like
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So,
I can understand why you want to go there then.
No. But I may need to learn just a little bit of Spanish before I do, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine your toy hunting in Mexico experience would have been very different if not Raul and those other boys there kind of guiding you as to no, you can get a better deal somewhere else, or that's what you need to pick up now.
Yeah, and honestly, like for like any prize that got thrown out, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. We were like $10 for some of this stuff. Like if you take it to America, they're asking like 40 for it,
Why is that? Like, are there not many collectors? Like, are there a lot of collectors in Mexico, or not so many, and that's why there's an oversupply?
There's just like a ton of it, There's like the vintage stuff. It does get a little bit more pricier, but usually still like really okay. But like the knockoffs, they just keep making them, and like they don't like you can see if it's like a vintage knockoff or if it's a new one, But it's just crazy to see that stuff for me,
For sure, yeah, for sure.
Is Chile where that mask container was? I think it was, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah, the Chile find. Yeah, Narg he got a couple of the ones out there, and I think Dallas Vintage Toys got like a ton of it. They bought it and then they got it graded.
Brazil is pretty good for toys too. Gee, no, why didn't you tell me that when I was in Brazil? Oh, missed out on that.
I think like also just going to like Cincinnati or like Pawtucket, like where a Hasbro or like a Kenner factory was.
Yeah.
You know,
That'd be
like
awesome.
lots of people that worked at the factory, they obviously bought it for their kids where they were working for, you know. So I think those flea markets are gotta be rich in, you know, like some of the Kenner product and other ones like the Hasbro, you know.
For sure.
Ed,
you mentioned. Oh, sorry, mate. No, I was just going to ask you mentioned Dallas Vintage Toys getting a bunch of that chili mask stuff and grading it. Are you much into grading? Do you have any graded stuff in your collection?
I'm not into it.
No.
No.
Fair enough.
You can't touch it. Grade it.
I don't see like the point unless it's like something you really want to preserve.
Yeah.
But having to put like a number on it that indicates like a value times 6 of what it should actually be worth. Like it's weird how those prices work, you know.
Yeah, I get you. I mean, much like Dean, I'm a loose collector, and the other guys for the most part as well. Like, I need to be able to feel these things in my hand. If it's always nice to get things in nice condition, but if there's a few paint rubs, that just means a kid had a good time, like had fun with it, and that's just part of the story of it. So I kind of go down the other way with it. But I was just curious. I hadn't seen much, many graded things in your backdrop or on your channel. I was just curious.
It's also not very like people don't really do it over here.
Fair
like
enough.
At a toy convention, you'll maybe see 1 or 2 things graded. Here, and it also just because it needs to be, cast graded or the other thing, and it costs like too much shipping to get stuff graded over here.
You got to send it over there and then get it back.
Send it back.
And then like hopefully,
and then you got to worry about it getting lost in the mail.
So,
hey Ed, sorry, I've missed this question in the chat. Just some of our friends collector friends, Monique and Dan, they just want to know: did you have Boglins as a kid? I noticed you got a Boglin shirt on, but they love their Boglins.
I had a baby Boglin,
a little baby.
Oh yeah,
like baby, the ones that came in the eggs.
Yeah.
And I remember playing with other ones, but I know I had a small one in an egg. But it was just like one of those things from childhood where I knew it existed, and then I just got into it and started buying it for like a while. I think I was one of 2 people in the Benelux, so Netherlands and Belgium, buying it off of like the online offer up sites. That's how I got most of it.
I remember seeing them as a teenager in the shops, and they just freaked me out. I don't know why. There's not too many toys that freak me out, but they did, and I just stayed away from them. And even now, I look at them and they just go, "No, they are hideous," and I'm sorry. It's a toy that's hideous to me.
That's the whole point, Matt.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Those original Boglins, so they break down, don't they? They sort of go, because they're a rubber, they go split, don't they?
Oh,
great.
They're made of like Creighton or something like that. I do think that the ones manufactured in Europe last longer than the ones in America.
Oh, okay.
I think there's something different in there because I rarely come across ones that they have dust in them, so you clean them up a little bit. But we don't have to like use oils on them or anything like some of those American collectors need to. So it's kind of weird. Yeah.
What does this mean? Thank you for helping with the Kickstarter. There was a Kickstarter that you're involved
like the newer Boglins. I think I did an interview with Tim Clark, who created it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was connected to the Kickstarter at the time, but I backed up the Kickstarter to get like the new Boglins, and during that, maybe we promoted it. I know I promoted it in a couple of videos, but
Yeah.
I don't think I really like helped anything into like a great extent.
You never know.
With Kickstarter on. But just being part of that Kickstarter was pretty cool because it really connected with a lot of people, and as a backer, you got so much extra free stuff. It's insane. At one point, they said you can get like pick one more that you're gonna get for free, and then they gave you the Dark Boglins as well, and then because I did like take the high tier one, but I think eventually I got like 10 Boglins out of that.
Wow.
So and a
It's
t-shirt
incredible.
and things like that. And then people started like wanting to do like sponsored content. Like, we have Boglins here, can you like promote the shop that they have it here? But they would like send me the same things I already have. So it's like, well, I just need the red variants now. So just send me one of those, you know, and I'll promote it, you know. So I have too many Boglins, like of the new ones. It's like a whole wall. It's insane.
I've actually got a couple myself. I've got about 4, and now I'm just like, yeah, they're pretty cool to me. But yeah, I never had one.
Yeah, my kids are really into it, like just because the eyes move and stuff. So they each have one. Yeah,
they're freaky. No, I'm not getting on
glow in the dark eyes.
On that note, all right. I think our time, we've come to the end. Thank you very much, Ed, for joining us, being part of our chat, answering some questions from us from the chat as well. We really appreciate it. I know you're a very busy guy. And thank you very much for joining in and asking questions. I know you guys are having a little chat in there amongst yourselves as well. I hope you had a good night. And so we're just we'll leave it there for the night. We'll come back. We won't go around the rooms this week or this month. But yeah, we'll be back in probably about 3 or 4 weeks, and we'll do another collector's pack. And so thank you very much, everybody. Have a good evening, and we'll catch you next time on the collector's pack, everybody. Thanks again.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.